Good morning, everybody. It's Graham once again from Unearthed, and the next episode of Detecting Talk is here, Tuesdays, as always. This episode is going to be based around a little bit of celebration, I guess, of Detectorist and Detecting. You know, we hear some of these films I do are a little bit on the negative side, sometimes having a pop at various people that are having a side swipe at Detectorist, but I want this episode to be 90% positive, only 90%, because there's a little of there's a 10% of negativity going to come out, and you guys will see why very soon. But you think about it, every week now we're seeing the amazing coins and artifacts that detectorists are uncovering up and down the country, and purely and simply, if it wasn't for us detectorists out in the field doing the hard work and with pens on the roll, if it wasn't for us detectorists out there in the fields doing the hard work, trolling up and down the fields for 8-9 hours at a time in all weathers, a lot of the general public and social media individuals and everybody else would never see these treasures come to light if it wasn't for us good old detectorists. So, you know, hats off to us detectorists doing the job each year. You know, long may it continue. I think we're pretty much seen in a great light. There's one or two idiots out there that continue to have a pop at detectorists, but they really should be ignored. And a prime example was just last night, not even 12 hours ago, folks, where I posted up a rather fantastic find that was made on Sunday just gone by a Northwest detecting club on a rally, a weekend rally, ran by ran by two of our friends, Graham Morrison and John Heaton. And they had a weekender, and they uncovered, or a gentleman on the dig uncovered, a fantastic Bronze Age hoard consisting of no less of 10 Bronze Age spearheads, bracelets, beads, even spear counterbalance weights were found in the hoard, with wood still attached to some of the weaponry. Amazing find. They did the right thing. They called the finds liaison officer. They got in touch with the archaeologists. They stopped digging at a certain point. They carefully extracted some of the wonderful finds, but they didn't want to damage the archaeological context of the ground and the surrounding area, so they stopped what they were doing. They took the photographs, and there is a meeting with the archaeologists and the finds liaison officers on site very soon. So they did everything right. So Graham kindly agreed for us to post the images on Unearthed for you wonderful people to see, and we did that last night, and we got some wonderful comments, and we also got a lot of individuals commenting and liking the particular post. However, all of a sudden a lady, well, would we call her a lady, a female, a green-haired, hairy female, that's the only way I could describe it, had jumped on the post where everybody's celebrating the wonderful find, and, you know, thankfully it's brought to light and there's no damage to the individual artifacts due to modern farm machinery, because it would have happened because they were quite shallow. So eventually if this wasn't discovered by detectorists, it would have been damaged beyond all hope, I guess, in the near future. However, this one individual jumped on and likened detectorists to African ivory poachers. I mean, how absolute ridiculous. Now, usually I call them out, and we have we have to get our point across over as best we can. The anger sometimes takes control, and you say things that you probably shouldn't have. And I'm no exception for doing that. I've done it in the past many times, blasted people completely out of the water when they continue to post silly, mindless comments. That was a fly, folks. Better than a spider, I guess. Like we had last week. So sorry about that. So going back to this comment, so this woman posts this disgraceful, shouldn't be allowed, I'm likening detectorists to African ivory poachers. I mean, that was just disgraceful. But what I did is something that I don't normally do. Instead of calling her out and giving her a bit of stick back, what's the point? Just deleted her and banned her off the page. And then there was another guy posing the question, should it have been dug, etc., etc. He went But the vast majority, 99% of the posts were all positive because the detectorists have brought to light a fantastic hoard that would never have been seen. You've got to celebrate that. Detectorists have got to be celebrated for the job that they do. If it wasn't for us, most of these finds would be still in the ground, rotting away. It's unbelievable that there's a narrow-minded group of individuals out there that do not like detectorists, what they are doing. So it's all about the celebration of detectorists. I see ladies, I see gentlemen uncovering fantastic treasure items throughout the years, using their detectors that they've purchased, going off on a Sunday morning when the weather's damp and it's a grey, miserable day. They have a cup of coffee in the morning or a cup of tea in the morning. They don't know what that day ahead of them is going to hold, right? It could be probably, like most of us, digging a few coins and artifacts if we're lucky, a lot of trash, a lot of junk, because believe you me, people don't realise how much junk we dig as detectorists. You know, our finds pouches at the end of the day are completely bulging sometimes with a whole host of horrendous, twisted, broken partifacts and undescribable objects. However, you get up on a Sunday morning, you have your brew, you get your gear packed, and off you go in your car, and within a couple of hours, it could be you. You could be the one person that's uncovering an amazing find, a hoard, a gold ring that's linked to a prestigious family, a rare coin. You just do not know what you're going to unearth next. And that is the beauty of detecting. And that's what should be celebrated by us all. If it wasn't for us doing that wonderful job, these museums would have very, very little to show, I'm afraid. The archaeologist people wouldn't have the information and all that history and work to tap into behind the scenes if it wasn't for detectorists. So we've all got to remember the sterling work that detectorists do. You know, I mean, I've got a dig this weekend. It's our first dig for a couple of months because of the weather and because of the crops and everything else and the availability of the land. But there's a chance of a hoard coming up. You just never know. What I'm going to do from now on, though, is make sure we have a policy in place to deal with the situation if it arises that somebody on our digs is lucky enough to uncover a hoard. And the rules are going to be on the lines of, if it's uncovered, we do the right thing. We call the archaeologists in. At a certain point, we stop digging. We make sure the area is not full of people crowded round with the detectors, with the filming and the pictures. I don't mind that part of it. I can understand that. But when everybody's trying to have a go and jumping in, it looks an untidy situation. I don't want that. I want it to be done professionally, just like the hoard was on the weekend that Graham and his gang found. Done professionally, handled with care, and call the authorities in when necessary. So we're going to have to probably talk about that on Sunday morning. What is the likelihood of a hoard coming up? Well, you see more and more of them coming to light with these new detectors that are getting deeper, more sensitive to objects. The more hoards are coming to light. There's no two ways about it. We have seen over the last few years some terrific Bronze Age, Iron Age, medieval hoards, coin hoards, artifact hoards, you name it, denarius hoards. Some fantastic finds out there still to be discovered. And of course it begs the question that some of you guys ask from time to time is, how much is still left in the ground? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. We are only just, never mind the negativity, that some people think there's nothing left. Because believe me, there's a lot of detectorists out there that do not think there's much out there to be found. Well, I'm going to turn that completely on its head. We are only just scratching the surface of what lies beneath. You've got to remember there's thousands of years of history out in them fields where people spent the majority of their time not sat in an office or sat in a place like this or sat behind a wheel of a car or a truck or a wagon or whatever. These people, for centuries on end, were out in the fields working, eating, sleeping, and in some cases dying. So a lot of their personal objects, finds, deliberate and accidental, were lost over the centuries for us detectorists to come along and find. We are only just scratching the surface, folks. We are literally only just scratching the surface. There's no slowdown in the amount of hammered coins that are coming to light. There's no slowdown in the amount of artifacts and Roman coins, Saxon, you name it, Viking pieces coming up. Every week on the social media groups you see more and more coinage coming up. It's got to a point where going back a decade on social media, people were posting up things like Victoria shillings and Edwardian sixpences and things like that, and they were getting 200, 300, 400 likes, right? But now people have become desensitized almost to the modern stuff because they're seeing that much medieval, Roman, Celtic, Saxon history being posted up that only the very best finds are getting the huge amount of likes, because that's just the way it is. People are seeing more and more finds coming to light that social media is bringing. The beauty of social media, I guess, is it gets posted up every day. What people have been finding, we see it all the time, which is fantastic. But believe you me, there's a heck of a lot. There's decades more finds out there, probably centuries more finds out there for us to get in amongst. The problem is getting access to the land in the first place. That's where it becomes difficult, but that's a completely separate subject. So some of your input, guys, on this particular subject, the celebration of Detectorists. I mean, you've got to remember as well, while we're on the subject, is the sterling work that Detectorists do each day, not every week or month, every day, uncovering lost personal belongings from individuals. So, we get calls every day of the week where somebody's lost a ring on the beach, sentimental value, or they've lost it in the back garden when they've been weeding or gardening, or they've lost a personal item of interest and they need somebody with a detectorist to go and uncover it. Now, quite a lot of the times a detectorist called, a local detectorist, and they're brought into the place of where the individual item is lost, and 7 times, 8 times out of 10 the detectorist comes up with the goods. Last Friday night I was sat there having my tea, the phone rang 6 o'clock, didn't recognise the number, but some gentleman left a message on my answer machine, and he was a farm manager from the East Coast who had lost a valuable piece of farming equipment. Could we come over with our detectors to find it, because he couldn't continue to bale the fields because of the damage it may have done going through the process of the baler. Now, if I was a bit nearer, I would have jumped at the chance, because it's a really prime area to detect. Who knows? You could have granted me permission to detect on the land. However, within half an hour, 2 gentlemen from Brisleyton came along and searched the fields until they found the particular object. Detectorists do this all the time. They're out there all the time finding valuable objects that people have lost, and they take great pride in handing it back to them. I've done it. Many of you guys have done it. Let's hear some of your stories about recovering people's lost wedding rings, engagement rings, jewellery, whatever it could be, personal belongings. It'll be interesting to see if some of you guys have uncovered some of that and been able to give it back to the owners within a short space of time. So that is a celebration of detectors, or detectorists, I should say. The next episode of Detecting Talk won't be this Friday, because it's the Unearthed organised dig on Sunday. We want to do the filming on the day because we want to see what's coming up. So the film will be, the next film will be the Unearthed organised dig day, which is this Sunday coming, up by Hadrian's Wall, near that area. Not on Hadrian's Wall, of course, folks, before everybody gets excited, but not too far off. So watch this space, look out for that, comment where you can, give us a subscribe if you want to. It's always very appreciated by me and the Unearthed team when you do so. And good luck if you're out detecting in the week and this coming weekend. I will catch up with you all soon. Bye for now.